The Human-Demon Great War. The Situation of Wrath. War is hell, often by accident, but not always. A battlefield where both the demons and the humans have become all jumbled together. No battle formations at all, just a melee. Strategy is completely meaningless, and both sides cannot do anything except to kill the enemies right in front of them. I cannot do stuff like leading on the battlefield. After all, both in the previous world and this world, I've never experienced leading others in a war. Since I was entrusted with the Eighth Army, I have gained a little bit of experience, but the staff officers, etc., have always been far more capable than me at giving out appropriate instructions. To be blunt, I'm not suited for command. With my abilities, it's better to fight on the front line. However, considering the objective of the current war, I can't exactly go on a rampage by myself. If I went on a rampage, then the humans would certainly suffer significant losses, but conversely that means that the demons would suffer fewer losses. Since both the humans and the demons must suffer similar losses, that would be the wrong move. For that reason, I couldn't just go and rampage in the front line. However, while that may be true, I can't then just give commands from the rear. I'm incapable for a start. If it becomes well known amongst the soldiers from the Eighth Army that I'm incapable, then I'll be treated with contempt. The personnel of the Eighth Army are basically a mishmash of various groups. The demon feudal lords who committed crimes have had their private armies dismantled, and then those reorganized as the Eighth Army. After all that had happened, the morale of the soldiers in the Eighth Army is low, enough that there are even some who might rebel. To stop that, I can do nothing except to suppress them with sheer strength. Because of that, if I'm treated with contempt, then even slightly, then I'm finished. The moment that happens, there'll likely be a flood of deserters. There might even be some among them who would take the opportunity to attack me. I would like to believe that such a thing won't happen after I made a display of my strength, but should it actually happen, then I will likely be forced to turn my weapons on my own soldiers. If that's the case, then the losses to the demons would increase, but even I don't want to do such a thing. As a result, the actions I should take are clear and simple. If I can't command, then I just don't have to. I just need to turn it into such a quagmire of melee battle that there's no point in even giving commands. As a bonus extra, if I can make a desertion impossible, then it's perfect. I prepared booby traps behind the rear lines of the Eighth Army and then informed them that there's no path of retreat, that if they still try to flee, then I'll personally kill them. They shuddered to such an extent that it was fascinating. Then, with regards to myself, I destroyed the fort. Showing myself as little as possible, I hurled magic swords at it from a distance. That way, the humans would need to leave the fort in order to escape the destruction, having no other option but to advance. The strikes from my magic swords destroyed the protection of the fort with trivial ease. It was pointless to hole up in the fort. If they die there, then it would just increase their losses. Then, to urge them forwards, I continued to hurl magic swords. The demon army couldn't retreat, and the human army they could only advance. They had no option but to clash with each other. If both sides are forced to crash into each other, then strategy becomes meaningless. Finally, once they're stuck in a melee, giving commands is worthless. During the melee, while I threw magic swords at the rear of the humans' army to drive them on, I slew the minimum number of forces who came at me. Even while hurling the magic swords, I intentionally kept their losses as small as possible. If I reduced the human army by too much, then the losses to the demon army would become too small. A proper commander would minimize any losses to his allies one way or another. What I'm doing is the exact opposite of that. I'm a cruel commander. My subordinates have no luck. I seriously sympathize with them. However, that's all I can do. I choose to do no more than that. Thus, while I'm throwing magic swords around and defeating the humans who came at me, I heard a battle cry that somehow managed to be audible across the noisy battlefield. Whoa! I'm impressed his breath lasted that long. That sort of inappropriate impression popped into my mind. A knight came towards me, continuously shouting, while he brandished his sword. From the little of him I could see through the slit in his helmet. He was an old knight with considerable wrinkles etched into his face from age. Despite looking so old, there was nobody who rampaged across the battlefield more youthfully than him. I remember that figure, or rather, that sword technique. A long time ago, back when I was still an ogre, there was an old knight who had cornered me. Towering over the rest, I take it you are one who leads this troop of demons? My name is Nudos. I request a formal duel. So stuffy. The old knight Nudos, who had gotten close to my position, has formally applied for a proper duel without concern for the situation around him. As should I put it, he can't read the mood. There isn't a situation in which to go all fair and square. Asking for a battle in the middle of a melee, are you an idiot? He must be an idiot. However, this extreme foolishness is somehow refreshing. He might be an idiot, but he is consistently single-minded person, I bet. He is living his life while staying true to his beliefs, honest to a fault. I'm quite jealous. He is completely different to me, who is constantly wavering and hesitating. I accept. I deliberately responded to him because I felt that I wanted to. I wanted to try having a fair and square match with this person. Yuto's son doesn't seem to have realized that I'm someone he fought with in the past. I was an ogre then anyway, so I look different now. Well, I have no intention of telling him that. Whatever happened in the past, I'm sure this person wouldn't care about it. I guess this is a revenge match for me. Thinking of it like that is a strange thing, but what I have to do doesn't change. Here I come! Nyuto's son nimbly approaches me. He comes at a speed unthinkable for an old man, or rather, for someone wearing such heavy armor. Humans might have status values inferior to demons, but the speed of that approach is far faster than any untrained demon could manage. I would wonder just how many there are within the 8th Army who could make such an approach. Even so, that doesn't reach me. Compared to when I was an ogre, I have become far stronger. My magic sword cuts through Nyuto's son's sword. I'm sure he has quite a famous sword, but with a single stroke using my status and magic sword to bulldoze through, that sword is cut in half. Next, Nyuto's son's head is cleaved off. Without even being able to offer any resistance, Nyuto's son's head falls. The least I could do was to grant him a peaceful and painless death, though it might be presumptuous to think of such a thing. That was the least I could do, though. It seems that for the human army, Nyuto's son was an important figure, as the soldiers who saw his death were shaken and then collapsed. As soon as one section fell, the rest of the human army fell like dominoes. Thus, our 8th Army became victorious. Yeah, I remember that guy. Oh, okay, sure. Alright, yeah. His voice is cool, but oh man, it puts such a strain on me. After a while, at least. Alright.